Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Future Chapter 3. This one is titled Thankful. What? Kirishima stammered. But I thought... The doctor raised his hand slowly and closed his eyes gently to indicate for Kirishima to remain quiet for a second so that he could explain. Yes, I know what you thought. Let me explain, he said to Kiri, then turned to address you. Mrs. Kirishima, when you had the ultrasound yesterday and earlier tonight, did your sonographer tell you that there were multiple babies present? You shook your head. I don't remember. There was a lot of people in the room and they were saying a lot of medical stuff and you sniffed. The doctor walked over and sat down on the edge of the bed. What? Kiri gasped. We were having twins? Yes, you were, Mr. Kirishima. Except one of the twins had a very low heart rate and we determined that it wasn't going to be viable. Both babies are on the smaller side and at that point it was possible that we could lose both, so we had to act quickly to nullify the least viable twin, the doctor said in a very calm voice. He had done this procedure many times and talking about this didn't faze him at all. I'll double check the paperwork, but I'm sure that you were made aware of this, Mrs. Kirishima, he said with a kind smile. Well, now that you mention all this, I'm remembering the sonographer saying something like that, but I had no idea that I was carrying twins. I thought that there was just one baby and that it wasn't well and we were going to have to medically... Wait, so what happened with the other baby? Kiri asked suddenly. It's still there, healthy and well. You still have one baby present, the doctor said softly. So I'm still pregnant? You asked incredulously. This whole ordeal had made your mind numb, but you were starting to understand. You'd seriously thought that there was only one baby and it had passed away. Kirishima burst into tears again, this time happy tears. You followed suit, tears of relief flooding down your cheeks. Kiri grabbed onto you in another tight embrace and mumbled words of love and praise into your neck as he sobbed. The doctor smiled softly and gently stood up from the bed. I will send the nurse in for a routine check, Mrs. Kirishima. You'll be in for a few days for monitoring, but the procedure went well and I'm not expecting any complications. Thank you so much, Kirishima cried to the doctor. Thank you for saving our baby. It's my pleasure, sir, the doctor said with a smile before leaving you two alone. We still have a baby, Sharky? You sniffed. Yeah, Icky, we still have a baby, Kirishima said lovingly, stroking your forehead. I'm going to love you both with all my heart. Bakugou parked the car and hopped out. He had, secretly, enjoyed catching up with Todoroki and Kaminari, but he was low-key worried about his buddy Kirishima, and for the rest of the night it had made him a bit antsy. Getting out of the car, he sauntered to the front door and unlocked it and pushed it open. I'm home, he called out down the hall. All the lights were off except for a soft glow coming from the bedroom, so he kicked his shoes off and headed down the hall, his feet thudding softly on the hard wooden floorboards. You still up? He asked when he saw his pregnant wife sitting propped up in bed, surrounded by pillows, on her phone. She looked up from her phone and glared at him. He scowled. Listen, I'm sorry, okay? Shouldn't have said that. She looked back down at her phone, ignoring him. He exhaled sharply through his nose and walked over to the bed. I don't care if your ass is bigger. You're pregnant. It's normal. I like big asses. Well, I don't, she snapped. Why couldn't you have just said, nah, baby, it's not that big. What are you talking about? Because that would have been lying, Bakugou snorted. I'm not just going to frickin' lie to you. And what? She shot back. Saying it puts Mount Lady's ass to shame is better? Her eyes glowed with anger. Bakugou smirked. It was a damn funny response, okay? Get out of my bed, she snarled, her eyes narrowing and very threatening. I apologize, damn it, Bakugou said with a hint of surprise. Doesn't that make it better? I said, get out! Bakugou grit his teeth but obeyed. His soulmate had fallen pregnant on the honeymoon, and the further she got along in the pregnancy, the angrier and more short-tempered she got. He was trying his best not to upset her, but almost on a daily basis he would say the wrong thing and be in the doghouse. In a huff he got up off the bed and walked to the door, heading for the spare room. He was almost there when he heard sobbing coming from the bedroom. Upon hearing the sound, he stopped and then rolled his eyes. Now what? He grunted, turning around and walking back to stand in the doorway. Hey, he said gently, a scowl still on his face. What's wrong? I'm a horrible wife and I hate myself, she bawled. Bakugo let out a loud sigh. Babe, it's okay. You're pregnant and uncomfortable. She nodded, tears still streaming down her face. He walked to the bed again and sat down to draw her in for a hug. Not long now and the baby will be born, he said, resting his chin on her head and rubbing her arm. She nodded again. I'll try to be less angry, she sniffed. He smirked. It's probably the baby causing this, if it's got my genes. She smiled and wiped her eyes. I need to call Dumbhair, Bakugo said suddenly. Something's up. I can't rest. We'll be back in a second. He gave her a quick kiss and then stood up and walked out to the kitchen, pulling his phone out and dialing Kiri's number. Hey, he grunted into the receiver when Kiri answered. Is it a bad time? He turned around and leaned up against the kitchen bench, one hand in pocket, other holding the phone to his ear. No, not at all. We just got good news, Kirishima's relieved voice said down the line. So, all's good? Bakugo asked stiffly. Yeah, all's good. Baby is okay. Please keep it quiet though, because it's still early. Yeah, I know. Don't tell me what to do, Bakugo replied curtly. Thanks, bro. Really appreciate the call too, Kiri said, happy that Bakugo had called him. Don't mention it, Bakugo said, his voice softening a little. He really cared about Kiri. The cheerful redhead was a good guy. He deserved to be happy. Have a good night, yeah? Bakugo added, signalling the end of the call. Yeah, bro. Thanks again. Give my greetings to your wife too, Kiri said before ending the call. He's a good guy, that Bakugo. He's kind, but he doesn't like to show it, Kirishima thought as he put the phone in his pocket and turned to go back into the hospital room, smiling lovingly at you from the doorway. Bakugo's such a softie for Kiri. Stay tuned for chapter 4 coming tomorrow.